It's preparing. What's up, everybody? This is Christian Real Estate Investing Made Easy, as you know, because you're on this channel watching this. I'm joined by Brad Garcia for this Feedback Friday. And it is really a pleasure to be here. And I'm excited because we really have had a heck of a run. Last week, we were going to do the Feedback Friday, but weren't able to join because we were in the hospital, i.e. my wife and I, since we're expecting a baby, and we were thrown off course because we had to go in for a scare that was like, oh, baby might be coming, but here we are. Didn't happen. So Brad, how you doing today, man?
I'm great to be on here with you, buddy, and with all the people that are watching, either live or that will be watching this later on. Yeah, excited to get these started, man, and just give value to everybody that's on the channel watching, so that they can go out and crush the on and off market deals that they got going on.
Awesome, man. A little bit to everybody, the format, what this usually looks like is we're going to go through frequently asked questions, also the specific questions that we've got over the last week, because things are busy. We're all busy, right? We're moving really fast and this industry doesn't sleep, right? So as we continue to learn and grow with you and make real estate investing easy, we get a lot of questions that happen all the time. The same questions. That what I found about this industry, and it's something that I'm going to get to a little bit later, is that it's the reason why there's a 97% failure rate in this industry. And there's one thing that you need to do to actually prevent that from happening, which is kind of the special treat that we're going to talk about a little bit later. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, we are answering questions that were already asked, as well as frequently asked questions. But as far as the format goes, send in your live questions. We'll also, on the replay, anything that's there, we'll respond to those as soon as we can. And it may even be here on the next Feedback Friday. So, Brad, before we get started in all of the questions, you were working on the one who was the on-market offer system pioneer, basically. So we have an on-market offer system that we got a lot of questions about. There's a little context I wanted to put in front of the audience first. On the Feedback Friday 2 weeks ago, you weren't there. I was.
Sadly.
So I deferred to you. And that's why the first thing that I want to do is talk about the questions related to the on-market offer system. And that is about
let's do it.
The trainings. So there was one in particular that I brought up here that somebody asked about it. And it's a pretty obvious one, but there's a reason behind it. And the reason behind it is so critical. They said, "Oh, what's up, DIG? He's on. What's up, man? It's good to see you on here."
Nice.
So we are definitely live. So we'll be taking your questions too. The question was this: are you really just sending out mass offers and not calling the real estate agents before you submit the offer one by one? It seems a little impersonal. Why would you do that? I know you got an answer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got an answer. That's a great question. Who asked that question, by the way?
I wrote it down, followed up from 2 weeks ago, and I don't have the name, but it's been asked in a different format, different ways from different people.
Yeah, so there's two schools of thought in the on-market offers that you're sending out. The first school of thought is reach out to every agent before you send an offer out. They're going to be able to put at least a voice to the name that's being submitted on the offer. That way you can figure out what's going on with the property, what the situation is, yada, yada, all that stuff. Kind of in the same way that you wouldn't just send an offer out to an off-market lead directly to a seller. Now, the reason why we send out offers before talking to the agent is because we are utilizing really the second school of thought, and I think a good balance of the two, which is we're going for volume. And on a day-to-day basis, I have to utilize time blocking pretty effectively and strictly, because if I don't, my day gets away from me. I've got Zooms, I've got lives, I've got calls, and then I've got, my wife and my 11-month-old daughter here that I got to attend to. So, you're just being pulled in a bunch of different directions. So if you aren't utilizing time blocking right off the bat, definitely do that. But one of the things that I'm doing is, I'm pushing out 10, 20, 50 offers a day and soft vetting even more properties to get that amount of offers out, before they're even sent out. So we're utilizing a pretty good balance of quality versus quantity in the offers. And to be able to get a higher volume of offers out, I'm just going to be going through, if you guys haven't already, we've got the Privy on market system kind of training series that walks you through my step-by-step process. But I'm going through and making sure that we're picking out the properties that are close, that we can get close to on an offer that would have a higher probability of actually being accepted by the seller, and that also have some type of value add component to them. And then I'm sending those out. Now, the reason why I'm not talking to the agent with the prior to sending those out, additionally, in addition to volume, is that if we're getting close to getting to their number, or at least in the ballpark to where we can open up a conversation, then it is not a waste of time, really, or it's a better use of my time to then get on with the agent and then create that relationship with them, and then get more information about the properties. But really, the short answer is volume. We're just pushing out so many offers that it wouldn't make sense to get on. You can utilize both sides of the approach, but what we found is we've used both, and the better strategy is the balance between the two. And so getting in touch with agents after they've kind of responded and we've gotten close on a call, so that we can then, refine the rest of the process after that. So I hope that kind of clears up, that question.
I think it would. And of course, anyone watching this replay or live, let us know. And then we'll continue to dig into that as needed. You mentioned,
by the way, everybody, if you haven't noticed, I was going to say earlier, right, where you have the matching glasses. It was my birthday on Monday. Christian got me these. So I'm super excited to wear them because my eyes are always tired at night.
Right. So we don't know, they don't know what type of glasses these are, probably. Maybe some
just to make us look cool, I thought, and smarter.
They're blue light blocker glasses. So it's just to reduce eye fatigue when we're in front of the computer all day. And that's one of the side effects of virtual wholesaling or virtual investing, period. That is, how can you actually show up to work and perform your role as in the company, whether you're an owner, an acquisitions person, or what otherwise? You got to plug into the computer to do it virtually. Yeah. So a lot of eye fatigue, and
but now we're matching.
It was time. Yeah, it was time. Well, shirts too. Come on, there's something to be said about a brand, man.
That's right. Got a brand. Yep.
And actually, what I wanted to dig more into, and the reason I do, is because I've also seen some questions recently come up. This isn't something in front of me. It wasn't something I plan on addressing, but it's such a huge failure spot for people who are just getting started in the real estate investing industry, having a 9-to-5 job, or maybe they're thinking, I'm going to go all in, but not knowing what to do, or even before knowing what to do, how they can fit it all in. And you mentioned time blocking and time management. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but what do you mean specifically when you talk about time blocking?
I mean that I'm actually carving out blocks of time on my calendar for specific things. And then when that time block is done, whether I'm done with that task or not, I'm moving on to the next time block so that I can get a lot done quicker and more,
Gotcha.
In the same amount of time.
So when you're carving out the time as a salesperson, obviously, I mean, you've been in sales for a long time. Are you using Cutco?
I was not using Cutco. Yep. I did sell Cutco for a little bit. Yeah.
I know. So did I. And
I think
Chris.
I was going to say every good salesman cut their teeth. Cutco.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. I mean, at least from what I've seen. And I'll tell you, as far as time blocking, this is something that as a coach for, the first 3 months of somebody's journey when we're coaching, most people struggle with. They say I can't fit it in because I have all these responsibilities, which is, by the way, another reason why I wanted to mention the failure, 97% failure rate, and like how it shows up, but also the number one reason, which I haven't even mentioned. And it's not what you think. It's not. It's not you. And that might seem, the number one reason is not you. When we always talk about, you know, you are in control of what you do every single day, your schedule, time blocking, all this stuff, but it's actually not you. And I'm really excited to get to it, but I'm gonna get to it later. So stay tuned.
I know you want to hold that. Yeah, I know you want to hold that for the end. So,
dude, I'm excited about it because it's not just coming with the news of what the number one failure spot is. It's coming with a solution.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't ever want to claim to have all
exciting.
the answers. This isn't stuff that, you know, that I engineered. And I've said this in other videos when we're talking about marketing. I didn't invent any of this stuff, right? It's already existed long before I was even born, way back when, which I won't mention when that was. But anyway, you know, it's important to recognize that one of the pieces to the journey of real estate is just getting your schedule in order and understanding like what you can practically do. But a lot of people have the objection where it's like, well, like literally I don't have any time at all. Okay. Cut out TV first and foremost, right? Stop watching TV. That's my suggestion in love. Don't watch Netflix and chill, right? It's watch educational content and chill. And I would invite you to watch Real Estate Investing Made Easy educational content, but I will be fully transparent and intellectually honest. We're not the only ones, guys. We're not the only ones that have educational content that's worth something, right? So get in and engage on YouTube for free, or if you've bought into a course, right? We have courses too for niche things, right? We give most of the information away that gets you money and gets you results for free. But when it comes to, you know, one-on-one interactions and like really diving in deep, you know, we're able to take on clients. But when it comes to just starting out, you have to cut out things to fit in what's worth it to you. And a lot of people, they don't know that it's worth it to them because they haven't seen that check yet. So time blocking is important, but floating time blocks is the answer to those objections where they say, man, I just literally don't have any time. So it's cutting out TV, cutting out those other things that you're finding yourself doing, being really like inner focused to understand what you're doing and what's not serving you and serving your goals. And actually, you know, some goals are so worthy, it's good to even fail because it motivates you to continue to strive for it. But if you find that like you just don't want to bother doing it, then maybe it's not for you, right? It's not for everybody.
And to that point too, I mean, you cut out all the stuff, watch all the YouTube you can. We're in this age of information where you can basically take college courses online, and they have college level education free on YouTube. So do all of that, get educated, you know, but at the end of the day, at some point, you're going to have to take action, and, you know, you have to be an action taker. You just got to go for it. Progress, not perfection. You're not going to be perfect. Nobody is. So at some point, you're going to have to step out of your comfort zone and get it done. It's all going to be on your why. That's going to drive you to do it. So figure that out. And I love what you've said before, Christian. I've told it to many other people. Your why, if you're answering, well, it's financial freedom or it's more time, you always want to add at the end a so that, you know, what comes after the so that is really your why. You want financial freedom so that your family doesn't, you know, isn't struggling, or, you know, I want more time so that I can spend more time with family and create memories. Those are that's the actual why. And that's what's going to drive you to take action more than just money.
100%. 100%. So we'll get into the questions, which I think will add value.
Yes, questions.
A lot of what has popped up over the last week. So this is Gordon. He said, I've used PropStream and Property Radar. I'm going to use Propwire now and see how good the data is. So yeah, I'm actually putting out a video right now, and it's actually on my screen in front of me, where I'm talking about Property Radar and I'm talking about Propwire, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it, but you get 250,000 records for free. And people will talk about that these are leads. They're not leads, guys. We all know that, right? We're all clear on the fact that if you pull a prospect list, they're not leads until you actually convert them into leads. So
Right.
Another question that I'll follow up with this, which is specifically on the launch control video, it's about marketing. You got to market. But before that time, in order to understand whether or not the data is good, it could be the best data on the face of the planet, but if you're not skip tracing it properly with a good skip tracing service, then you're missing out. You can't actually make that data go anywhere. It's like building a car but not putting gas in it, right? So you could have the best car, whatever that is to you. I'm not really a car guy.
Me either.
I'm a point A to B guy. Like, it doesn't matter if I can get somewhere and get there safely. And sometimes I like going fast. Okay, don't get me wrong now. Right. I'll go to those circuit races where you can drive the little carts or the little race cars. That's a lot of fun. But
that is fun. Yeah.
Yeah. The point there is that you really you want to make sure that you use a good skip tracing service. We'll link it in the description below, and it's going to be specifically related to our preferred skip tracing company. And then, once this is done, guys, you'll see it. And it's literally given us the highest amount of textable prospects for the last several years. And it's called Best Skip Tracer. And if you want to support the channel, you can use the link in the description. But as far as the once you skip trace the data, then you got to market to them. You'll discover pretty quickly if that data was good. The data inside of Propwire isn't necessarily, as far as I've seen, any worse or better than any other data provider. But one thing that is really important to note is, as it compares to others, how can you get to a niche list that you're trying to target? Right? What are your search functions?
Yes, your search function ability. I was going to say that's what's going to set those types of softwares apart.
Right.
Because like you said, like the data is great. It's pretty comparable across all platforms, but you've got to be able to drill down into the criteria you want and have those functions and those capabilities to get there. But if you do that, you could have the best program that can get down to the very just most granular level. But if you can't skip trace it to get accurate, contact info, doesn't matter. So best skip tracer for sure. But yeah, back to your point there. I know you were going somewhere.
Yeah. So I'll get into this later. I'll get in depth to it. And specifically, I'm putting out this video that you see right here. Why and when I will pay for data versus pulling lists for free by sharing a side-by-side comparison of
Setting the mood
versus my favorite data provider, which is Property Radar, so that by the end of this video, you can make more money with real estate investing. And if you've never heard of Propwire, you can get 250,000. So the reason why, I know I just jumped to the same shot, which was kind of funny. But the reason why I wanted to share that with you is because it's coming out and it's a very in-depth response to the comments, right? So if you guys are watching and you're asking specific questions, we will not only respond to them, but we'll also make content about it. The question was, which one's better, Property Radar or Propwire? Well, one's free and one's paid. So I go into depth in this video that I'm going to post very soon about why I'm going to pay for data. And it's spoiler alert, a little bit of it has to do with what we were just talking about. And that is, how niche can you get with your lists? What is the search functionality to be able to discover certain things? And one little Easter egg that I'll give you that's in that video is, if I'm searching for an end buyer, or an end seller with my strategy in mind to do a subject to purchase, well, I'm not going to pull a list of, people that don't have a mortgage, but I also don't want to pull a list of people who have a mortgage where, they have a 8% interest rate, for example, something crazy, right? In a high price point market. So if you don't have the ability to search by that, maybe FHA, VA loans, right? And then a specific interest rate, or really mastermind more complex, really stacks of motivation in your lists, then, sure, you could get it for free. And those records might be included in a massive list pull from Propwire. But if you're not like us and you're sending out 5,000 correspondence or more, because we do every single day, most people are sending it out 10,000 max a month, right? You want to make sure that you're not wasting a bunch of money to, as Brad mentioned, skip trace, right? All of that, because it's going to cost you money, especially if you're using something like batch leads, which I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but they're charging 20 cents, right? A skip. So consider if you're sending 10,000 a month at 20 cents a skip, that's a lot of money. It gets to be a lot of money, especially if you're doing it the way that we're doing. That's why we don't use them, because we found a reliable data provider, or sorry, a reliable skip trace service company that gives us the ability to actually at a high level skip hundreds of thousands of records quarter over quarter. And it's 8 cents a skip. Some people can say that they'll get it for 3 cents a skip, but you're actually going to spend more money that way, because you still have to pay to market to them, which is Launch Control that we use as our text platform, which we will link in the description below, the playlist that kind of goes over, as well as the reviews that go over that in more depth, which I highly encourage you guys to watch if you've ever thought, oh, SMS marketing, I heard it's great, but there's all these platforms, and then you've seen Launch Control and you're like, oh, that's super expensive. Well, you're actually going to save more money, even though it looks more expensive. And then, okay, by the way, DIG, they dropped down to 15 cents. I believe recently. Okay, so even that 15 cents, thank you for that feedback, by the way. So 15 cents is, compared to your 8 cents. And I know that the data that they provide is okay, because I've used them. When I first started investing virtually and skip tracing with, it was with batch leads, right? Or batch list stacker. Right. It was called batch skip tracing. And we did some reviews on that too. I've taken them down since, because I'm not trying to say and even so, I took them down. They had a lot of views and this and that. And, there was a lot of engagement, but I took them down because I didn't want to promote it anymore. Not because they're a bad company, right? It's Chevy versus Ford, or it's rather Chevy versus GMC. What are you paying more for? GMC, but ostensibly your GMC truck is identical to your Chevy. So you want to pay for the brand, basically, is what you're doing. Well, I'm going to go for Chevy all day. Give me a Silverado, right? I guess.
Oh, absolutely.
The old
2500s.
Yeah. I said I'm not a car guy. Did I say truck guy? I'm not.
You didn't say truck guy. Okay.
Dude, I sold an SUV that I had, and I got the same style and year and everything of an SUV back later. It was awesome. I was praying for that, legit, because we were building a family. We got one on the way, and we have But I sold it for a Prius. I sold
nice.
And I'm not complaining about the gas mileage that I get there.
No, not at all. Especially
with recent events happening.
Yeah.
That might be a conversation for another YouTube channel.
That's right. Yes.
Yep. So anyway, really, really coaching, moving to the ability to market properly off the backs of a specific question that we got about Launch Control. They said, what do you think about smart contact? Of course, what they meant by that was smarter contact, I'm sure, because I was like, I haven't heard of smart contact. Let me see. It's smarter contact. Mm-hmm. Now, again, I have a review video. I'll link it in the description below about that. But what I think about smart contact is it's a good platform. It really is. And as far as people who are promoting Launch Control, no joke, guys, we're number 2 of everybody who's promoting them. And I'm not saying that to impress you or anything like that. I'm just saying we're using it, and we're really vocal about things that we like and that we have found to be successful tools. And that's why we have investortools.us. The website goes nowhere, but all of our links will be investortools.us/ you got your SMS marketing, right? It's SMS- marketing. And these are tools that we can stand by because we've used them. And other tools that we've used in the past, we can stand by them or not, depending on the use case and what the result was. So for Smarter Contact, I dabbled in the Smarter Contact world, and I realized that at our volume, we're paying way too much. We're paying more than the price tag of the highest price point for Launch Control's package. And that's just to say that, they're all included when you look at Launch Control's site. it says $14.97 for the pro. And we have like 2 or 3 of those accounts right now that we're paying. That's a lot of money, but the reason we're doing it is because it works, and it works at a high level. You could scale that down and go to the starter for launch control. And actually, let me not put my foot in my mouth and just go to the site to see how much it is now. Launch control.
I believe it's $4.97 for the light package.
Gotcha. So you are absolutely correct, my friend. So there's there it is right there. Ooh, there we go. There we go. $4.97 for the light, $14.97 a month for the pro. I don't want to spend too much time on this because we've already done it, right? We've already talked about this in the video. We'll link it in the description below. We have more questions to get to. And I want to respect everybody's time because we do try to keep this to an hour, right? So you guys can get the information that's going to benefit you over the weekend, maybe give you some points to consider while you get your education on, after your maybe 9 to 5 during the week. And you're in the weekend, like what things should you focus your time, effort, and energy on, right? It's partly going back to time blocking. So won't spend any more time on that. Just know that we'll link later those trainings specifically in the description of this video so that you can watch those. And they're short reviews too. So we go through that in length. All right. So back to you, Brad, because this next question that we got is,
what do you got?
This is about the on-market offer system. And he says, how do you handle new listings that match your search and getting them added to your list? Is it just getting the email update? And here's, I will share my screen so you know what I'm talking about here. So it's this question right here. And I believe that's Ramirez Renee 1 asking this question right here.
How do you handle new listings that match your search and getting them added to your list? Is it just getting the email updates when you rerun the search in Privy, it will return all listings, even the one you already put into a list? Oh yeah, and I actually responded to them but I'll tell everybody on the live here. Yes, it is just you. So number one, you're not rerunning the search because you have your email update already set up. So anything that matches the criteria of the search that you already set up will then be automatically emailed to you for every one of the markets and every one of the lists that you've already created. So you don't have to rerun the search. That's what's great about the email updates is the only thing that you're checking after you. So really, really quick to go through the process. You go through a new market. You're going to have, depending, 150 records to go through for depending on the market, 100, 150 that are going to be matching your criteria. So you're going to go in there and you're going to be soft vetting all of those and seeing which ones you can put offers on and which ones don't make sense. You're going to be going through that and clearing out that market. And once you've cleared out that market, you've got all your offers set up, you're ready to go. You can send all those out in a bulk email. And now all you're doing is you're constantly checking your email every day and adding, you're going to be doing the same process, but you're only going to be doing it through the email updates. So it's a much easier process. You're not sending out a ton every single day with that, unless you're opening up new markets. And so, yeah, that's probably the easiest part about the process is just, going through the emails, because you don't have to add them to any lists. If they don't make sense, you don't got to look at them. And you don't have to add them to any lists, but they do make sense. You get to cherry pick those out of the email.
Awesome, man. Yeah. And again, if you don't know what he's talking about, it's the on-market offer system. We even have a playlist specifically dedicated to the trainings for the on-market offer system. And one thing that, I typed it up in the description of that whole playlist, is that the reason why I wanted to make that live, somebody buys the on-market offer system, and yes, buys, right? Super low price point. It's $47.97. It's, something that we're crushing on-market offers with, which, hey, praise the Lord.
I use it every day. I use it every day. Yeah.
Every day. And that's why Brad's the man given this feedback about it. And 2 weeks ago when I got that question, because by the way, it's 2 weeks old, I said, nope, I'm going to defer to next week. And the next week didn't happen because I was in the hospital. So I wanted to get to that now. But yeah, you can check out the playlist. It's literally on market offer system playlist. So check that out. And then it goes through exactly how we do it.
Everything that comes in that is you're going to mirror. So what's great about it is we give you the process for free on YouTube. You can go through that, step by step. But if you'd like to use the tools that are in that video, that's what Christian's talking about. The 47 is going to get you your soft comping and that analyzer that'll help you clear a market of 150 leads really quickly to identify the properties that you need. And then when you go into do a more in-depth analysis, there is a quick deal analyzer that we have in there that drills down into square footage, what your rehab cost is depending on the type of rehab you're doing. And then it'll spit out a first, second, and max allowable offer based on all the criteria you put in there, percentage of ARV that your buyers are buying at, your rehab cost, the ARV based on square footage, and based on rehab. And then on top of that, you get the KPI tracker, as well as, before I go past that, the KPI tracker tracks every offer, response, offer made, response gotten, and offer accepted, as well as the offer amount that you're putting versus what the list price was. Why all of that information is really critical when you're going through these is because you want to know what price point and what percentage can I take off of the MLS to discount it so that I can bring good deals to buyers. They're deals that they'll actually buy and look at. And you can only really get that through data. Last thing you get is the email templates. I think there's 10. Each of the initial templates have a follow-up templates, and they're categorized for specific campaigns that you want to send out, whether or not it's just straight cash, seller finance sub to, specific to Airbnb, midterm rentals. All of those are in there as well. So that's what you get with that. Awesome. I just want to make sure we didn't gloss over that, Christian.
Gotcha. Yeah. So moving on, guys, because I want to make sure we have enough time for what I promised.
Yes. Yeah, please.
It's the solution for the failure spot in the real estate industry. And I've already hinted towards a couple of them, but let me just be bold when I say this, because the reality is, and this is one man's opinion, but I know that if you're watching this video, you're probably going to think, you know what? I haven't considered that before. Either number one, but I think he's right. And number two, a light bulb's going to go off and you're going to say, holy crap. Like, yeah. This is obvious, and it's been staring you in the face the entire time. The reason for the failure rate in this industry, the number one reason is the REI education industry itself. We're saying that from people who are literally like educators, coaches, trainers, as a speaker and a trainer and a coach in the real estate investing industry. It's because of the way in which this whole industry is marketing to people, saying it is easy as pie, it is easy as cake. You need no money, no credit, no experience. Stop the presses here, guys, because the truth is you do need some experience, right? You need to get your education on, even if it's experience through education, and then leverage somebody else's experience, sure, right? But I think it's a little disingenuous to be promoting it that way. And then not only that, once people do, because of course we can see success stories through, like I've gone through education platforms, right? I was with an education company for a long time that people were dropping $50,000, $60,000, $75,000, and they were putting it all on credit cards, and they were taking out early draws from their 401ks and their retirement accounts to do it because they believed in the vision that was sold. But a lot of companies, they'll sell that vision. And when you absolutely can be successful, right? And I said, remember, it's not you. That's what I said. The number one reason why is because it's not you. You've been told something that is a half truth. And that is, you don't need any of these things to start. The truth is you don't need any of those things to start, but you need somebody else who does, or you need a leverage credit, which you're still on the hook for and you still have to pay. And if you fall into the second category, the second reason why there's such a high failure rate in this industry, then you're not going to be able to pay it back. And that is, many people realize that they're not ready to do this at all, period, because of the amount of work that once the veil is lifted, it actually takes to be successful in real estate investing. And again, people, and I'm a case for this, where it's like, I worked really, really hard. I had a full-time job. And then in addition to that, I put in full-time work with the real estate investment business way back when, doing this by myself. So I was working 80 hours a week. Sometimes I would work 40 or 50 hours in my day job. And then I would still plug away at real estate investing. And then I was continuing to learn and grow. But one of the things that stopped me was I didn't think that I knew enough, right? So the other side to that coin is once you know, implement and execute, and then you'll actually start to see results. And by the way, it's a failure is feedback. Okay. A failure is feedback, and so is a win. So count all of those as the same in terms of getting your education from the School of Hard Knocks, right? You're seeing yourself from, from before you're actually successful, being successful. It is about mindset too, but know that don't get off your high horse or whatever you want to call it. Like, don't get off that high of like, I love this industry just because you failed. You didn't fall, you didn't even fall off, dude. You just veered course, and just like a GPS, go back on course. And then the realization is, once you, and maybe some of you watching this are here, once you actually get into the industry and you're flipping properties, you're done. You throw your hands up. I'm done. Because many people realize that they don't want to be full-time flippers because the business is not scalable as it sounds or as it seems, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we found virtual wholesalers. Well, what do virtual wholesalers need in order to actually have a sustainable business? They need flippers. They need people who are their buyers who are actually going to flip the property. There's one specific, and I won't say their name, but in San Diego, an awesome business that when they're doing things at a really high level, a good year, they'll get 4 million, right? But when they're not, and in a bad year, they'll get 2 million. Now, you might say, well, wow, for one person, that's great. And it is. And even for a small team, that's great. But you can't scale above and beyond that because it requires so many moving parts and it gets exhausting. Flipping houses. I mean, as I used to flip a whole lot more than I flip now. We're doing more creative deals. We're doing more rentals, more buy and holds and stuff. And yes, even in what is ostensibly a declining market. And we'll get to that in a little bit because that's the last topic that we'd really like to cover. But it's something that you'll run into a wall where it's like, okay, this game was fun 3 years ago when I was flipping houses, but now it just feels like work. Even if you're scaling yourself out of it, it's then you're stuck with the reality that there's a lot of risk in this business. If you're the one who is closing on the property and owning it, vacant dwellers, builders risk. Well, guess what? There are some situations where even those insurances won't cover you, because what if your contractor went through, cut some corners, you removed a load-bearing wall, you put the ceiling up, oh, the space feels great. But a year later, right, the ceiling falls down. And by the way, I'm not just making this example up. This literally happened. And guess who it happened to? Don't let that stop you from getting into investing, but learning lessons, whether it's through education or whether it's through, the School of Hard Knocks, doing it yourself, you'll find out regardless that for most people, they don't want to be on the grind, because we look to the why that you mentioned earlier to get into the business of real estate investing, because, we want to be able to have money. We want to be able to have this and that, and that's your why, so that you can have time freedom. Most people are just becoming like literally slaves to their business. Their business owns them. And that is one of the reasons why there is such a high failure rate in real estate investing. It's because people realize, holy crap, I was much happier working for somebody else in my 9 to 5 and getting a decent wage, or whether you weren't getting a decent wage. Some people are like, I want to go back to that $20 an hour job. Like, give me that, because at least I get to see my family. Don't start a business where you're literally beholden to your business. The name of the game is scale. And that's one of the reasons why we talk about the marketing methods. The data management is really where it begins. And that's why I'm always saying things about, like, if you're starting out, or even if you're seasoned, manage your data properly, manage it appropriately. And you can recycle data, by the way. Right? You just need to scrub the data. And we have a data scrubber coming where it'll show like past lists that you have, where you can enter it into this system and then scrub out the recently sold. So we're coming with that here very shortly. We don't have it yet. We're just testing it in our own business first, and then we're going to roll it out to you guys, and you guys can use it and tell us what you think. But recycle your old data, because ostensibly the motivated seller list, there's more motivation than just I need to sell quickly. There's other motivations that those people on the list will still be motivated to sell later. And some would argue even more motivated. So all that said, well, I know you got thoughts on that, Brad. I know that behind the handsome glasses that were a gift to you, you had a few points and things that you wanted to say. So now's your chance to take it.
Well, I want to make sure we're giving enough time to the questions, but the one thing I will say is that, to the bottom line, your point is that you just have to manage your own expectations. Don't let the gurus tell you it's easy. It's not. It's going to take time. And I'm a good use case to the opposite, where when I came on with you and Chris, where you guys already had the veil lifted and basically kind of let me in on the behind the scenes. My expectations were managed to that it was going to take a while, and so I was willing to put it, going into it, having known that. I went into it knowing that it was going to take a long time. It was just a matter of time before we started getting paid. It took me 9 months before I actually got paid on a deal. But that was because I was coming out of it fresh, zero experience or knowledge whatsoever in real estate. I just knew that, behavioral deposits over time would return the investment, and they have. So I was able to quit my 6-figure salary job and move here full time, but I didn't do that before I put in the work to get the knowledge and build a foundation, put in the work after hours, working the 60-hour work weeks, so that's what I was going to say about that.
Yeah. When you're working 60 hours for 6 figures a year, that really diminishes the dollar per hour.
Oh yeah. No.
Right? And the same thing is true for being a real estate investor, right? Because if you're beholden to your business, even if you kill it, and just remember 30%, like you make $100,000 in your first year in real estate, dude, that is awesome. But like you made $70,000, but how much work, time, effort, and energy did that take you to get there? So there's a shortcut, by the way. All this stuff said, there's ostensibly a shortcut, and that is absolutely like number one, start networking and aligning yourselves with other people, because Brad is a case study of this. He wanted to get into real estate investing, but if he had gone on the journey himself, I have to have my own LLC. I want my own branding. I want to do it my way. You can. It's going to take a lot longer. You can still succeed doing it. It's going to take a lot longer. And there's that learning curve. Get in there and join somebody else's team if you're just getting started, right? And we actually have somebody else on our team that did the same thing, Luis. So he's doing disposition for us. He's a valued member and of our team, a big part of our team. But the point that I'm making is that set your expectations beyond what is shouted from the stage, right? Where they say like, oh, you don't need any money. You don't need any credit. You don't need. Okay. All right. Sure. You don't, but it needs to be somebody else's. So it's all about relationships. It's all about building trust and a foundation. And yes, there are niches where you like really, really don't need much at all, like tax liens. But that's for another time to talk about that, because they're awesome. Don't get me wrong. I love them. All that said, we're going to wrap it up a little bit because it's been about 42 minutes. We want to keep it to 45. If you have any other questions, drop them in the comment section below. We really appreciate all of you who are live with us right now and all of you who are watching this later and engaging with us. If you want to be a guest, because we're actually having guests on, let us know in the comment section, or you can email us at team@reime.us, and you can go to reime.us to get our top 5 must implement real estate investing tools that are geared towards business scale. It's everything that we teach and train and that we do and that we want to give to you for free. So jump over there and get that resource. It took me a lot of time to put that together. Actually, it was just me. I didn't want to outsource it. Okay. It was just brain dump, refine. This is exactly what's worked for me since 2009 in doing this business. And then I just learned from my failures. I learned from my successes, and I want to share it with you. So that's it, Brad. Any final thoughts?
Nothing that hasn't already been said, guys. Appreciate you guys coming on and watching us, continuing to support the channel, like, share, notifications, all the things that all helps us continue to do what we do, and we enjoy it. So we want to make sure we're bringing value valuable content to you guys. So give
For
us
sure.
ideas.
All right, man. Join us on the next one. We're going to